In this month's Learning with Loden, we're going to talk about something that all of you love to talk about. And in January, I know a lot of you are going to love the decisions that we make around snow days. You know, they're kind of like the weathermen. Sometimes we cancel school and it rains. Sometimes we try to go to school and it snows. So we'll talk about some of the protocols that we use. And literally, I know at times people think Dr. Loden's got a magic 8-ball and he's trying to figure out how to cancel snow, but we don't do that. But we actually get up about 4:30 in the morning and we're listening to NOAA and MoDOT. We've got weathermen advising us so when we do cancel school or when we have school. But one thing that we have that's a little different from some others, and people compare us at times to others, but when we have snow days, we look at them as an opportunity to allow our children to have a lot of fun, but also to have activities for our elementary students where they can stay engaged and have routines in a light manner where it's not like work 101 all day. But we expect that, and that's NICSA. And you may look at other districts and they may not do anything, but I don't really care. We're NICSA. And we have things, though, that will support you at home with routines and also help us to have a lot of fun and just have fun activities that help their kids to continue learning in a fun way. And then for the secondary students, we'll talk about some of the things that we do for them because they have to earn Carnegie units. So we will keep more work going on with them, but still we want every student to be able to have fun and go out and play in the snow, and you'd have family time in the snow. So enjoy this session, and if you want to get up with us and help ride and check roads at 4:30 in the morning on snow days, we're always looking for volunteers too. And believe me, it's fun when you're at the high school doing donuts with your kids in the car on a snow day, making sure the parking lot's safe.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Learning with Loden. I'm Zac Rantz, and I'm joined here with Dr. Webster and Dr. Brigette Golmen, and we're really excited to talk about winter weather days. It's everybody's favorite. In the past, we've kind of changed things up. Maybe we were forced to change things up because of COVID, whether we want to go down that road or not. But we actually had plans to go virtual on our days off for inclement weather, and we kind of came up with a plan. So we have two great experts that are going to kind of tell us why we even do that. So, Brigette, I'm gonna start with you. Why is it important from that elementary level for us to continue learning on a virtual day?
There's so many reasons. First of all, our students enjoy learning, and it's a great opportunity for us to connect learning from school to home, and that provides that chance for our families to see some of the things that we're doing in our classrooms. It also provides our students with the opportunity to continue learning throughout that time where they may be away from school, and a lot of our activities are just things that we're doing regularly, things that they've already mastered in the classroom or have had exposure to, and it's just a continuation of the things that they're doing. A majority of the work should be able to be independent, and just continues that opportunity to just enjoy the love of learning even when they're away from school.
Well, Jared, so I know secondary can sometimes look a little different than that. How similar is it? And then also, how different is it?
I think it's pretty similar to what Brigette said. You're just trying to continue that learning. A lot of what we're doing there is, rarely are we going to try to do new learning on that time. It's just really reinforcing those key concepts. Sometimes it actually provides a nice opportunity where you think, man, I'd love to put just one extra day of practice in here, and we get that opportunity with that. I would say where maybe on our end, sometimes where we feel it's a little different is it's one thing to have one snow day, it's one thing to have two snow days. Yeah. So when you have multiple in a row, and the end of our year doesn't change, doesn't stop. So if we end up with all multiple days in a row, we need that opportunity to be able to keep going, and we recognize that not everybody's gonna learn at the exact same level at home, but if we can just keep moving forward and then pick it up whenever we get back to school, I think it helps quite a bit. And
I know, too, at the secondary level, what everybody may not realize, elementary versus secondary actually has to have a certain number of minutes and times in order for our high school students to get that credit in the classroom. So we are watching out for that. Is that correct?
Yes, correct. So okay. that helps students keep those Carnegie units in play.
fun term. So, but I mean, I think that's, so we're always looking out for not only just the continuation of learning, but we're also looking out for just the fact that we want them to get credit. And so there's a lot of things we take into account. So, Brigette, elementary, when they're planning that, like, what's the idea behind those activities that are being planned? I know they may seem fun. Maybe it's play out in the snow or the ice, which is what we have lately. But like, what goes behind those planning activities?
Yeah, that's a great question. So our teachers spend a lot of intentional time trying to find things that reinforce concepts that they've learned at school. And Jared talked about this. Sometimes we're out for multiple days in a row. And, that can really create some regression, especially in those early years of learning, where if we halt, then we've got to get back in the routines and reteach those expectations and reteach some of the learning that might be lost over several days. So this gives us that opportunity to continue that pace of what we've been doing in the classroom. So the activities would be reading and writing and math and a lot of those core concepts of things that we just want kids to be doing all the time as part of their average day.
Sorry, I just thought I've noticed too that you guys try to make it fun to where they can apply those concepts to like the real world, so it is out there, maybe like they're measuring snow or they're like writing about the snow day or things like that. How does making it real to those elementary kids kind of reinforce what they're learning in the classroom?
Yeah, so we always try to make sure that we're making connections. Everyone learns better when you can connect to the learning and you can see it in real life. It gives us the opportunity to show why the learning is important and why we do what we do. And applying it to things that are engaging and fun are always the best ways to make sure that our students really understand those concepts that we're trying to teach.
And Jared, I know the secondary does that as well. So, but it may just be a little bit more in depth at home or kind of, with what's going on. So how does that look different or how is that the same?
It depends very much on the course. But you'll see activities that are, plan a potential rearrange of your bedroom, measuring things out and make a scale drawing of your bedroom. Scale drawings are actually pretty difficult. Yeah. So doing things like that is very good. So I think at that secondary level, you really, you're going to kind of stick with your core things, but as much as we can, we're going to try and take advantage of the fact that they're at home. It's a different learning environment. There's some new opportunities there.
And so to secondary, you've got semester courses, you've got year-long courses. How does all this come into play with all of that?
That's probably the most beneficial thing behind the AMI days, because one thing you don't want to get your semester courses too different in terms of how many class periods a student has gone through. So I would say your semester courses benefit the most and appreciate these AMI days, these learning days more than anybody else, because it truly does keep them on pace.
We really do have to accomplish a certain amount of things start and beginning, and this is everything that has to be learned. So we have to make sure that that's what happens. So I know we talk about that. So, but we don't take the decision to go AMI lightly. It's, we want to make sure the learning is effective. And so what are those conversations, I guess to kind of close this out, what are those conversations ultimately that are had that reinforce why AMI days, those virtual learning days are important? Brigette?
So I think, again, it just goes back to that continuation of learning. And you both alluded to this. We do have a certain number of standards that we need to cover within the course of a school year. And those standards are provided to us by the state of Missouri, and we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to hit all of those standards with our students. And the more we can continue the learning throughout the year without any big gaps of instruction, the better we are able to continue to implement that learning when students do return from a snow day.
Yeah, sure.
I think at the secondary level, the big key thing is to be very aware and cognizant of what you're assigning and what you're doing. We recognize we've got some students at home who could have a calculus tutor in their parents' room, and others where that's not the case. And so we just want to be very aware that what we're doing is that appropriate level of difficulty, that appropriate challenge, while at the same time not overstressing students because they're not able to get that support. And, something we didn't talk about is our teachers are available on these days. They can get emails, and a lot of times we'll try to do office hour kind of situations. So it's not that we totally put it out there, but we do want to provide those supports as well.
And that's a great thing. That's our teachers are available on those days, and maybe they can take those opportunities for those students who need a little extra attention or time in particular areas, and really use those days to help them progress beyond maybe what they were able to do in the classroom. And like you said, not every kid has all the same resources. So I'm glad that we're thinking along those lines when we do that. Anything else, like final thoughts to add in here as we kind of close out this topic, Jared?
I'm actually going to speak from personal experience here and say, how does an AMI day benefit students? My son right now is all into baking, and it's hard for him to get the concept of 1 1/2 versus 1/2. Okay. And that makes a very big difference when you're baking. Is it a cup and a half or half a cup? And it's things like this AMI day that provides some of those opportunities at home where, everybody gets busy, but when the instructions are, here's a brownie recipe and make this with your kid, it's fun, we enjoy doing it, and he really does learn a lot of practical skills while getting a better concept of fractions and the way they're written at the same time.
Yeah, and that's an excellent example of something that could be that implementation of the learning that we're doing at school into the real world at home. Again, I want to reiterate, just as secondary, elementary, teachers are available to help our students throughout the day, and that communication will come from your teacher to the home to let you know when they're available. It's a great opportunity for some of that additional contact. It's a great opportunity for families to engage in activities with their students at home, and it's a great opportunity for our students to continue the learning that they're doing and reinforce some of the learning that they've done.
And we've actually seen this pay off. Like, we've seen our students continue to make gains. During COVID, we made gains. So we're kind of, this idea is we're seeing it working, and so we're going to continue doing what we're doing because our students are learning, they're advancing. Maybe when other areas, school districts across the state aren't, we're seeing those gains, and so we're excited to bring this concept and continue this concept in Nixa. So we want to thank you so much for joining us for another edition of Learning with Loden. Tune in next time for another great topic here at Nixa Public Schools.